The Indian Navy is all set to get 2 new nuclear attack submarines to counter any Chinese threat in the Indian Ocean region. A mega project worth 45,000 crore rupees has been approved by the Indian Navy. The 2 new nuclear-powered submarines will now be constructed at the Shipbuilding Center in Visakhapatnam. The construction of this 6,000-ton submarine marks a major power move, not just by the Indian Navy, but also the Indian defense manufacturing ecosystem. Defense sources were quoted in the New Indian Express saying, quote, "The submarine will be more than 90% indigenous," unquote. These will be the first 2 nuclear attack submarines or SSNs to be constructed in India, apart from the 5 nuclear ballistic missile submarines or INS Arihant class SSBNs being built at the same naval facility. Indian Navy plans to eventually induct 6 such nuclear attack submarines and deploy them to monitor and track all Chinese activity in the Indian Ocean. So within years, India will have an arsenal of at least 11 indigenous nuclear-powered submarines, including both SSNs and SSBNs, patrolling its shores. The project showcases India's scientific and defense manufacturing prowess as it places India among an elite group of nations capable of building their own nuclear attack submarines or even submarines. The Indian government had given the nod for the SSN project back in 2015, while the initial work began in 2017 at the Submarine Design Center in Gurugram. According to reports, much progress has been made at the Misra Dhatu Nigam, a state-owned entity that has developed a new alloy for Indian SSNs, allowing them to withstand more pressure and dive deeper than the formidable INS Arihant class nuclear submarines. Moreover, the report adds that the nuclear reactor on the new SSNs will also be more powerful than the ones on the Arihant class vessels. Now, by function, nuclear attack submarines or SSNs are different from nuclear ballistic missile submarines or SSBNs. Nuclear attack submarines, as the name suggests, are active offensive weapon systems used for tactical warfare, known for their stealth as they can stay submerged indefinitely. These are armed with torpedoes and sometimes even smaller conventional cruise missiles. Nuclear attack submarines are also by nature quieter over conventional diesel-electric attack submarines as they use noisy generators to power their batteries. Nuclear attack submarines can be deployed indefinitely for active surveillance or patrol or to track enemy naval assets in any designated area. On the other hand, SSBNs or nuclear ballistic missile submarines are strategic weapon systems and the most potent nuclear deterrent against any enemy state, hence China. They are often sent on long-range forward deployment where they can camp near enemy shores. They provide an option of a swift nuclear counter-strike in case of hostilities. Indian nuclear SSBNs like INS Arihant and INS Arighat are armed with K-15 nuclear missiles with a range of 750 kilometers. An upgraded K-4 Sagarika nuclear missile is being developed with a range of over 3,500 kilometers, which will put entire Pakistan in its crosshairs, while an Indian SSBN deployed in the South China Sea or the Sea of Japan could easily target most of Chinese power centers. But what about Chinese naval assets like the new Fujian aircraft carrier? The defense sources were quoted saying, "If any Chinese aircraft carrier comes close by, our nuclear submarine will serve as a deterrent because it can stay underwater for close to a month," unquote. Meanwhile, the Indian aircraft carriers INS Vikrant and especially INS Vikramaditya have been busy. Just last week, INS Vikramaditya conducted naval exercises with Italian aircraft carrier ITS Cavour in the Arabian Sea. This was the first ever joint carrier group exercise between India and Italy and highlights growing military alliance between the two nations. The Indian Navy released stunning images of the 2 carrier strike groups along with the Italian F-35 and Harrier jets, along with the Indian Navy's MiG-29s in action over the Arabian Sea. According to reports, the maritime exercise also included live fire drills and rescue operations. Even the Indian Air Force joined in these exercises with the Italian carrier group, simulating large force engagements as well as air combat ops. Even Indian military helicopters carried out operations with the Italian vessels, showcasing interoperability between the two nations and their forces. India and Italy have been slowly boosting their naval cooperation. Italian naval ship ITS Morosini made a port call in Mumbai in August 2023, while Italian Navy also took part in the multinational Milan 2024 Navy exercises in the Bay of Bengal earlier this year in February 2024. In another boost for the Indian Navy, the CCS or Cabinet Committee for Security has cleared the acquisition of 31 armed drones for the Indian military. 15 of these will be used by the Indian Navy, with the Indian Army and Indian Air Force getting 8 each. India will use these MQ-9B Reaper drones for 24/7 surveillance of the Indian Ocean region as well as the LAC with China. If you found this news report, then leave a comment, and for more news on defense or geopolitics, subscribe to Inconnect News.